to from Israel with latkes, do-it-yourself latkes.
Do-it-yourself latkes. This is Latke 101. Latkes are like potato soup. They're like spaghetti sauce. They're like pizza. Everybody has an opinion and everybody likes something a little different. In our household, I know that Moshe loves onions. So I try to get a ratio of about 2 parts potato to about 1 part onion here. And you can peel these guys if you want to.
What's making that noise?
That's my oven.
Oh.
You can peel these guys if you want to, or you can leave the skin on. I leave the skin on. Guess what? There's nutrition in the skin. And it's just more labor, and you never know it in the end product anyway, so you can leave the skin on these. I've scrubbed them, I've quartered them. Now there's another school of thought is, do you squeeze the water out or do you not squeeze the water out of the potato once it's grated? I do not squeeze the water out of my potato anymore because I found out that it makes a much creamier latke if you leave the water and the starches in the potato and use what's there. If you squeeze the waters out and you like a drier product, then that's exactly what you get, a more compact, drier, more of a hash brown quality. But if you just use a potato like it is, it's going to be creamier in the long run because the starches are going to mix with the flour and you're going to have a really creamy latke. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to process all of these really quick. I've turned that on, my old faithful food processor. Just push them right in there.
Here's a little tip about Israel for some of you that will be coming here. This is a step-up generator, this black thing. And it takes the American appliances at 110 and runs them up to 230.
I want to talk to you too about how much latkes to make. You know, it's like mashed potatoes. If you have somebody that likes a lot of mashed potatoes, then I would say to you that you should make a lot of latkes. But you want to guesstimate serving sizes on this the way you would for any potato product. I've got 4 potatoes that I was using there, and I know that he'll eat these today and tomorrow, and they warm up really nicely, so I'm making a few more than I need. The other thing is make more than you think you need if you've never had them before, because you're probably going to eat a few more than you'd planned on. So now we're just going to put the onions in here. Okay, now this part is not necessary, but what I like to do is I like to go ahead and put the S blade in there, and it just makes an easier product to put in the, to get it formed into a patty if you don't have all these long arms of the shredded potatoes. And we're not just going to pulse it is all we're going to do, just a quick pulse. That's all. Just so that you can see it's not the shreds aren't so long. And I'm going to flip this over here. And I'm going to do that one more time, honey. You can pause that while I do this one. Okay, so you can see here it's shredded, but it's more of a fine shred than if I would have just left it as it was, having run it through the grater. Now you can do this by hand too. You don't have to do it by a food processor if you don't have it, because the bubbies of years ago did this all by hand. When you're doing the flour, it's just by experience. You want just enough flour to make everything stick together. And salt, just a little pinch of salt in there. And what I like to do is I like to get in here and I just like to work it and squeeze it with my hands, because my hands will tell me when I've got the texture I need.
And my eyes are telling me you got plenty of onions in there.
Ah, you'll be happy then. And I can tell I need it a little bit more. See, it's not, see how easy that fell back apart? So we're going to get a little bit more flour. Now, what else can you serve with the latkes, inside the latkes? again, we talked about this is like a soup recipe. I've seen recipes that have dill weed in the latke. I've seen it that have parsley. I've seen it that have green onions.
Raisins, carrots.
You bet, you bet. Like I said, this is like potato soup. Now, you can also see how the water and the potatoes working with me with the flour to make a batter for the latkes. And I'm thinking that's pretty good. That's not crumbling. I'm just going to do just teeny bit more. So I think for those 4 potatoes, I probably...
Do we have eggs?
No eggs. No eggs in latkes. Not in the traditional recipe. If you want to, feel free, but not in the traditional recipe. Okay, now I know that's good. Look at that.
That
See
looks
how that
pretty
stays
good. Yeah,
together? Yeah. Okay. So this is all you have in the latke is the potato, the salt. I'm going to put a little pepper in here. Your onion and flour, and that's it.
And if she puts a lot of onions in, wear swim goggles, because my eyes are on fire.
But you can see the creamy texture of this. Okay, if I squeezed all the water out of that, this would be a lot drier. But this latke is going to be creamy when I'm done cooking it. Okay, pause there and we'll... Okay, come over here to the grease, honey, and let me show them. Again, you're wanting about a medium heat when your little wooden spoon handle starts sizzling. You want to keep it about there because you're frying a raw potato, and it does have to. Turning my heat down a little bit.
And look what I have to put up with while we're doing this. Somebody's chewing my shoe.
So this raw potato product is going to have to cook through the middle. And I like to use a portion scoop. You don't have to
Ice
do
cream
this.
scoop. Come on,
Ice
leave
cream
my
scoop.
shoe alone.
And get them in the pan that way.
Stop it. He's so nasty.
Everybody gets the same size latke. You let that watch. Let me get him. Watch what you're doing. I'll get him.
Yeah, he's watching what he's doing too.
Can you
He's
step up, please? Come on, let's go home. Come on. Come on. He's not going to do it.
he used the stick.
Okay, now, and I'm just going to let these fry like this until we're ready to turn them, and then I'm going to mash them flat. They look a little,
Ow!
actually we've got a little crust on them. We can turn them and give them a smash. Turn them. Go ahead and give them a smash.
He's giving my foot a smash. Look at this character. There he goes, biting my shoes. Stop it. Won't let go. He's mad.
He's mad today. He gets mad and punishing if we have to go out of the house and he gets shut up during the day. So, we're going to let these fry now until they get the right color. You can see the oil's not screaming hot, but it is bubbling nicely. And I've got about a half to maybe a little bit more of oil in the pan that I'm frying the latkes in, and we're going to let them cook until they're done. And you want to pause that, we'll show them what a brown side.
Just while Becca's not here, I'm going to give you the New York Ashkenazi Jewish tips here. Her latkes are a little bit small in diameter. They should be oval, not round. And there maybe should be 1/8 of an inch thinner. But
they're not done cooking yet, so.
But they're not done cooking yet.
He's behind you.
Okay, the darker of the lot here seems to have that rich brown that I like. Now this one she just flipped has a good brown to it also. They're coming around. They're coming around. Now you can imagine in the old country in the shtetl, the kids come in from doing the chores where it's minus 15 degrees, and the mom has 30 or so of these ready to go, and they're just chock full of carbohydrates.
And what do you put on them, babe?
Applesauce or sour cream.
Or if you're Moshe.
Kids come in from a cold session of ice skating or sleigh riding or snowball fighting. And you give them a few of these hot off the press, you know. These things, they're going to rejuvenate the kids, and they kind of stick to the bones.
They're belly bombs.
They're belly bombs, yeah. Carbohydrates loaded, and they're hot, you know, they warm them up. Here they are on a piece of paper.
Draining.
As you can see, it's a Hebrew newspaper, but I do wish to caution you the following, that it is no less a latke if it's in a French, German, or English newspaper. It does not have to be in an English newspaper, just to clarify.
Okay, so I just want to show you inside these guys how creamy they are when you leave the potato water in the potato. You get a much drier product if you squeeze the potatoes out. And I used to do it, but I think that we're both agreeing that the texture of the creamy potato is much nicer. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Hanukkah latke.
There you go. Remember, this is to celebrate Israel's victory